home, a sprawling structure of concrete and dreams, stood as a testament to years of saving, planning, and longing. It was the first night in our new abode, a joint family system house that promised new beginnings and whispered of old traditions. The ground floor, where I found myself surrounded by laughter and the warm glow of the television, was alive with the buzz of my cousins and the comforting presence of my sister. We were a medley of generations under one roof, each carrying our own stories, secrets, and dreams. I, perhaps, harbored a secret heavier than most, my closeted atheism, a silent rebellion in the heart of Pakistan. It was a part of me buried deep, unspoken but heavily guarded, like a shadow that never quite matched its owner. Our laughter was cut short, as abrupt and jarring as a scene change in one of those dramas we were too engrossed in moments ago. A masked figure, a gun glinting in the dim light, stood at the threshold of our sanctuary. The air, once filled with the sounds of familial joy, turned thick with tension and unspoken terror. In that instant, my world narrowed to the rapid beating of my heart, each thump a loud echo in the silence that followed. The fear was palpable, a living thing that wrapped its cold fingers around my throat. I thought of my hidden atheism, wondering if this was the moment my secret would lead to my undoing. Yet, as the intruder spoke, demanding money and jewelry with a voice that left no room for negotiation, it became clear that we were all victims of a larger, more indiscriminate threat. The adults were ushered out, leaving us, children and young adults, to the mercy of our captor's watchful eye. The room, once a place of comfort, felt like a cage, each of us a bird too scared to fly. We sat in silence, a silence so deep it drowned out the sounds of the city beyond our walls. Yet, amidst the fear, there was an odd sense of camaraderie. The thief, though armed and dangerous, cracked jokes, a bizarre attempt to lighten the heavy air. It was a twisted form of kindness in a situation where kindness seemed lost. As the night wore on, truths began to unravel like threads pulled from a fraying tapestry. Our invaders, they claimed, were retribution for the injustices sown by our nation's alliance with foreign powers. Their words painted a picture of loss and desperation, a narrative far removed from the life I knew, yet intrinsically linked to the very soil we stood on. The revelation that my father, an army man who had served at the Afghan border, would be their ultimate target, sent a shiver down my spine. Our family, like many others, was a tapestry of varying loyalties and beliefs, bound together by blood and history. The thought that his service could be the cause of our peril was a weight too heavy to bear. In the hours that followed, fear gave way to a desperate negotiation for safety and freedom. My uncle, a figure of strength in our family, returned with the lead thief, their faces etched with the weariness of men caught in an unending struggle. The demand for gold bricks, a rumor-turned weapon against us, hung in the air like a guillotine's blade. Yet it was the moment they threatened to use violence against me to coerce my family into submission that marked a turning point. With words and pleas, we fought for a reprieve, a temporary stay against the darkness that threatened to engulf us. As dawn approached, with the intruders gone and the silence of the night shattered, we emerged from the ordeal fractured but whole. My father, wounded but alive, descended from his isolation, a tangible reminder of the cost of survival. The aftermath was a mosaic of loss and relief. My stolen Nexus, the untouched gaming consoles, a testament to the randomness of theft. The police's late arrival, the neighbor's call that led to a deadly confrontation, and the lingering trauma were threads in a narrative far from concluded. As I reflect on that night, the story unfolds in the quiet moments, the the strength of a family tested by fear, the complexities of a world divided by unseen borders, and the silent growth of a young soul searching for meaning in the chaos. This is not just a tale of a robbery, but a journey through the shadows, where light finds a way to seep through the cracks, illuminating the strength, resilience, and unbreakable bonds that define us. It was a Thursday night, just like any other in our small suburban home. As a single parent, my life revolved around creating a stable environment for my daughter, Emily. After dinner, we settled into our usual routine. She was upstairs doing homework, while I was in the living room, lost in a book. The quiet of the night was a comforting blanket, a stark contrast to the chaos that was about to envelop our lives. The first sign of trouble was a sound, so faint I almost convinced myself I'd imagined it, the sound of glass shattering downstairs. My initial thought was a broken window, perhaps a stray ball or a bird flying into it. With a sense of unease, I grabbed a flashlight, telling myself it was nothing, just a minor inconvenience. As I made my way down the stairs, the beam of my flashlight cutting through the darkness, I couldn't shake the feeling of dread creeping up my spine. What I found was not a bird or a ball, but a window pane pried open, the curtains swaying gently in the breeze, a silent herald of the horror that had just begun to unfold. I stood there for a moment, frozen, the cold night air brushing against my skin through the broken window. My heart raced as I realized this was no accident. Someone had deliberately entered our home. The comforting silence of moments ago now felt oppressive, heavy with unseen threats. With every fiber of my being screaming to turn back, to pretend this was just a bad dream. I forced myself forward. I needed to secure the house, to protect Emily. Moving towards the kitchen, where I presumed the intruder had entered. I clutched the flashlight like a lifeline, its beam trembling along with my hands. As I entered the kitchen, flashlight fell upon a figure, a man, masked, standing by the shattered window. The sight of him, an intruder in the sanctity of our home, sent a jolt of fear through me. He turned, surprised by my presence. And for a moment, we stood there, sizing each other up. The next seconds were a blur. He lunged towards me, a glint of metal in his hand. Instinctively, I swung the flashlight, hitting him on the side of his head. He stumbled but recovered quickly, revealing a gun in his hand. "Stay back," he warned, his voice muffled by the mask. The situation had escalated beyond my worst fears. There was a kidnapper in my house, and he was armed and dangerous. My thoughts raced to Emily. She was still upstairs, unaware of the danger unfolding below. The intruder seemed to read my mind. "Where's the rest?" he demanded, gesturing with the gun for me to lead the way. I had no choice but to comply, my mind racing to find a way out of this nightmare. As we ascended the stairs, a plan formed in my desperate mind. I would lead him away from Emily's room, try to negotiate, do anything to keep her safe. But as we reached the top of the stairs, Emily's door opened, and she stepped out, her eyes wide with confusion and fear at the sight of the man behind me. The intruder's eyes lit up with a twisted sense of opportunity. "Perfect," he muttered, grabbing Emily and pulling her towards him. My heart stopped. This was not just a burglary. It was a kidnapping. He instructed me to tie her up, his gun never wavering from its target. With trembling hands, I followed his orders, all the while whispering apologies to Emily, promising her that I would fix this. Once Emily was secured, the intruder turned his attention back to me. "Now, let's talk about how you're going to save your daughter," sneered, revealing his true motive. He wanted a ransom, a sum far beyond anything we had. In that moment, with Emily looking at me, her eyes filled with tears, but also trust, I knew I couldn't let this monster win. I had to fight back, to protect her at all costs. The intruder, confident in his control over us, made a critical mistake. He put the gun down on the table to examine the ropes tying Emily. Seizing the moment, I launched myself at him. A clash of desperation against malice. The struggle was fierce. He was stronger. But my resolve was fueled by a primal urge to protect my child. In the chaos, the gun was knocked to the floor, sliding across the room. We both made a dive for it, but I was quicker. With the gun in my hands, the tables were turned. I ordered him to release Emily, my voice steadier than I felt. The standoff was tense, but it ended with the intruder surrendering, realizing he was outmatched. The sound of police sirens filled the air, a relief so profound it was almost palpable. They took the intruder into custody, but as I hugged Emily, promising her safety, I knew our lives would never be the same. Night shifts at the gas station had become my norm over the years. I'm the owner, and running a 24-hour operation meant spending countless nights behind the counter, serving the few stragglers who wandered in for a late-night snack or a fill-up. The station was my second home, quiet sanctuary during the wee hours, located on the outskirts of town where the city's hustle faded into the tranquil hum of the night. This particular night seemed no different at first. I busied myself with restocking shelves and cleaning, the monotony broken only by the occasional chime of the door as a customer entered. It was during one of these moments of routine that my world was turned upside down. A black SUV pulled up, its engine rumbling in the silent night. 4 figures stepped out, their movements deliberate, faces obscured by masks. A chill ran down my spine, an instinctual warning that this was no ordinary visit. They entered the station, and immediately, the air thickened with tension. "This is a robbery," the leader announced, a gun waving menacingly in his hand. My heart raced, panic setting in as I faced the intruders, realizing that the night might not end with just a robbery. As they spread out across the station, my mind raced. Options were limited. The panic button under the counter was too far away, and any sudden move towards it could escalate the situation. The leader, a tall figure with a voice that carried a chilling calmness, directed his accomplices to empty the register and search for additional cash. The other, a jittery individual with quick, darting movements, headed towards the back where we kept the safe. I complied with their demands, opening the register, my hands shaking. The situation took a darker turn when Mike, a regular who often came in for his late-night coffee, walked through the door, straight into the nightmare. His confusion quickly turned to fear as he was grabbed by the 4th intruder, a silent, imposing figure who had been watching the door. The leader's eyes gleamed with a new plan. "Looks like we have ourselves a hostage," he sneered, pushing Mike towards me. "Now, you're going to do exactly as we say, or this guy gets it." The threat was clear, the stakes suddenly much higher. I glanced at Mike, his eyes wide with fear, silently apologizing for the predicament he found himself in. The intruders demanded the combination to the safe, threatening Mike's life as leverage. With no other choice, I led them to the back, praying for a miracle or a moment's distraction to turn the tables. As I opened the safe, revealing the week's earnings, a plan began to form. The station was equipped with a silent alarm, one that could be triggered from the back office. If I could just get to it, the jittery intruder, eager to grab the cash, momentarily lowered his weapon. Seizing the moment, I pushed him against the wall with all my might, darting towards the office. Gunshots rang out, shattering the silence of the night as I slammed the door shut and hit the alarm. The minutes that followed were a blur of adrenaline and fear. Barricaded in the office, I could hear the intruders scrambling, their plans unraveled by the unexpected resistance. Mike took advantage of the chaos, fighting back against his captor, a struggle that ended with the intruder subdued. When the police arrived, it was over. The intruders were arrested, and the station, though scarred by bullet holes in the aftermath of violence, stood as a testament to survival. Mike and I were alive, shaken but unbroken. In the days that followed, the community rallied around us, offering support and praise for our bravery. But as I replayed the events in my mind, I couldn't help but feel a lingering sense of vulnerability, a stark reminder of the fragility of safety. The gas station, my sanctuary, had been violated, but it also became a place of strength, where fear was met with courage. This ordeal taught me more about myself and the depths of human resilience than I had ever known. And while the memory of that night lingers like a shadow, it also serves as a reminder of the power we have to face darkness, emerge victorious. This is probably going to get buried, but here goes. I live in a joint family system. My house is at the top and gas just finalized construction, and this is the night we moved in. I'm at the ground floor with my sister and 3 cousins and their parents. We're all laughing and having fun watching TV when a masked guy with a gun walks in. Now I'm scared shitless because this is Pakistan, and I'm an in-closet atheist, so I think he's come for me. Instead, he beats up my uncle and starts asking them for money and jewelry. They go out of the room to look while this one guy watches us. Everyone is dead quiet. We're all kids in here. Aside from that one guy laughing and making jokes. He's nice. The others, not so much. One comes in and says that they are from Afghanistan and that Pakistan has helped the US destroy their country. So he is going to rob Pakistan. When we said that we obviously aren't from the government, he says the army did it. I freeze. My dad, who's at the top floor, is in the army. He's been deployed at the Afghan border once. No one's children are on the same floor as the parents, and nobody knows what's going on. I think our floor is the only one, and when they take everyone's phones, I thank God my Nexus is in my room. Uncle comes back with Mean Thief. They didn't find enough. Apparently someone told them that we had gold bricks hidden somewhere. This is where I start to calm down. They're here for money, not for me. He then tells the nice guy to shoot me to get them to talk. We manage to talk him out of it. Though then they take my eldest cousin and tell his parents if they don't cough up more, they're never gonna see him again. After a bit more beating and searching, they decide to leave. My dad comes down after they've left to check on everyone. He's hurt pretty bad. Whoopee, my Nexus is gone. Thankfully didn't touch my PS4 or PS3. Everyone is safe, though they were about to take a hostage. Also, one of my cousins was apparently crying and begging the gunman not to kill him to the point where the thief had to reassure him they are not. So yeah. Later, police tells us one of them was killed in a showdown at another house when one of the neighbors called the police. My mother is traumatized by the incident. That's pretty much it.